He's sometimes known as Dr. Lou.
You never want to get in a urinating contest with a skunk.
He is Dr. Frank. The Doctors will see you now on NFL Films Presents. It takes a big ego to coach football in the Big Apple.
I understand the pressures to go with the New York media. I look at that as an opportunity, and an opportunity that we can win immediately. The Jets are coming.
33 years before Rex Ryan came to town, the New York Jets gambled on another charismatic coach, Lou Holtz.
I plan on spending the rest of my life here with the New York Jets. I think the epitome of everybody is to try to rise to the top of their profession, and pro football certainly is a top in coaching.
I didn't want to leave NC State. I turned a job down 3 different times. But the New York Jets, there isn't many better jobs than that. The money was very good. It's New York, it's Joe Namath, it's the glamour, it's the Super Bowl, it's the NFL. It was all about ego.
Your ego?
My ego, completely.
History remembers Holtz's 13-game tenure with the Jets in 1976 as a complete and total failure. Yet, how did one of Notre Dame's great coaches become a flop in the NFL?
Perhaps the best thing that can be said about the 1976 New York Jets season is that it's over.
Holtz realized that leaving North Carolina State for the pros was a mistake on day one.
I asked Kelsey to get Mr. Namath on the phone, and we didn't have his phone number.
You didn't have his phone number?
No, we did not have his phone number. But we had his agent's phone number. So I called, said we'd like to have Joe Namath's phone number, and he said, I can't give that to you. But I'll call Joe, and if he wants to talk to you, he'll call you.
You'll never make up.
We weren't real happy about it. When Coach Holtz was selected, you're bringing in a college coach, huh? Okay, where'd he play? What? Oh, he was a coach all the time. Okay.
When you have people paying $8.50 to go into that stadium, they deserve a 100% effort from everybody on that football field.
I was just completely naive and totally unprepared. I never played professional football.
Check it.
I never coached it. I had never been in a pro camp.
Boy, look how well Newsom does it. He's like a statue.
Had you ever seen an NFL game before you took the job?
No.
Coach Holtz wasn't really ready to deal with the kind of guys that were on a professional level. Unfortunately, the veterans copped an attitude.
In college, as great as the players may be, they need you more than you need them.
You think I'm a hard ass? Believe me, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't fight me on it, okay?
He wants to be an All-American. He wants to play the NFL. He wants to have a chance to make money. He can't do that unless he gets on the field. And I determine who gets on the field in college.
I don't want to see people slide by doing the bare minimum to get by. Let's do it the right way.
In the pros, you need them because you can't win without them. And if they don't want to play, they're going to be injured. You can't get rid of them because they're talented, and all you have to do is get their attitude right.
You'd think motivation wouldn't be a problem for Lou Holtz.
This game's not determined by a computer. Height, weight, size, speed, if it was, we'd put in a computer and we'd get a readout.
You're so good at that.
The game of football is determined by who wants to win.
I've seen you in locker rooms with pep talks. Wouldn't that work in the NFL?
I think it's more than about a pep talk.
That was a lesson Holtz learned the hard way.
And one of the great feelings about football was after winning, singing the school song.
All the fight song talks about is overcoming odds. What though the odds be great or small, old Notre Dame will win overall.
All of a sudden you think, okay, what are we going to do after we win?
This is with the Jets.
Yeah, well, all I know is the great feeling we had with. So I tried to come up with a song.
Lou Holtz has decided to put a little bit more of that rah-rah spirit in the pro league. I want to recite a little song that Lou Holtz has written for his New York Jet football team.
We finally won a game in preseason. Coach Holtz, a couple of equipment guys handing out these sheets of paper.
Okay, everybody, this is a new song we're going to sing after every victory. We're going to sing this. in the same key that we're going to sing when the caissons come rolling along.
I just happened to be standing alongside Mr. Leon Hess. We looked at each other, you know,
and Namath goes, okay. Oh, when the Jets... And so everyone started singing.
When the game acts like men, we're together, win or lose. New York Jets keep rolling along. Isn't that terrific? And wherever we go, we'll let the critics know that the Jets are here to stay.
It was stupid. It was immature. Guys 35 years of age, they had to look and say, this is stupid.
Lou always had a trick up his sleeve. He entertained us with his magic. Papers, cards, dice, sticks, anything you wanted to do.
Well, you can rub this dime into your arm. If you get it just, if you get it just the right way, you can actually rub it into your arm so that it'll disappear.
No amount of magic could make Holtz's offense work in the pros. In 9 years as a college coach, he developed expertise in only one system, the veer option.
When I left Ohio State, I go to William Mary. We didn't have Ohio State's personnel. So decided we'd run the veer because you didn't have to block many people. Go to NC State for 4 years, run the veer, tremendous success. Now I come into professional. I was immature. I don't think the veer is going to work, but you know, I don't know much else.
One thing I've never been able to understand about professional football is how a team that's losing just keeps trying to do the same thing time after time because perhaps the Dallas Cowboys or the Miami Dolphins or the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing it. If it causes us to run the veer, we're going to do what gives us the best chance to win.
He's mixed in some of his philosophy from college. There are a few things that are different in our offense, certainly, than we've had in the past, and a few things that I've never seen in professional football.
Oh, boy.
I had 2 torn hamstrings and some knees that wouldn't cooperate with running options.
It's a problem, playing football and not being able to run.
So when Coach Holtz put in the veer offense, Richard Todd was asked to run the veer.
You can't run the veer in the pros. I mean, it's not happening. That's when I kind of thought he was crazy. You got 9 guys coming through a hole at Mach 5. You're not veering anybody.
Richard Todd is to the point now where you have to say he's having a terrible day.
We can't run the veer. The quarterbacks can't do it. The pros are too quick on defense. What are we going to do? Well, we got to throw the ball. How do we throw the ball? I didn't know that much.
The Jets couldn't run, they couldn't pass, and they couldn't win, posting just 3 victories all season.
Second down, and so is Todd.
I've heard it said before, you never want to get in a urinating contest with a skunk. You're going to come out second best, and if you're down 31-3 and you try to throw the ball all over the lot, you're not going to look good.
When behind, don't despair, because we'll win if you care. All right, come on, Jets.
Those are the words of Lou Holtz.
When New York finally beat somebody, the Jets went bonkers.
To this day, you are the last coach that the Jets carried off the field.
There weren't many opportunities either. That's the amazing thing about it. Every day I walked out on the practice field in college. Hey, what a great day to work. I'm so excited to be here. It could be raining. I would love to be out there teaching you how to get better in the pros. You go home, you say, gee, I didn't think this would work out. I'm not sure this is what I want to do. You create doubt. All you want to do is be happy. You want to be able to be a productive individual. It was obvious to me that I wasn't being fair to the New York Jets.
On December 7th, 1976, Pearl Harbor Day, he left New York and went back to school, announcing that God did not intend Lou Holtz to be a pro football coach.
It was not his cup of tea, man. Lou Holtz was a great college football coach, and I don't look at him being with the Jets as any reflection on his ability.
The important thing is to understand that all the great teams overcome adversity. We're going to have it in our life. We're going to have it sometime today. We're going to have it sometime next week. And you're going to have it the rest of your life, but you'll never achieve anything till we understand that adversity is what we look for. Because in adversity, there's opportunity.
When you get knocked down, you have 2 choices. You either stay down or you pick yourself up.
Over the next quarter century, Holtz became the only coach to lead 6 different teams to bowl games.
If I could ever write a storyboard, is what I wanted. I wanted our to be behind in the second half. I wanted to put it into this once and for all where Notre Dame can't come back.
And led Notre Dame back to glory.
Notre Dame will celebrate a national championship, #1 in the 1988 collegiate football season.
Wherever we are, good, bad, or indifferent, is because of choices we make. I chose to go to the New York Jets. I chose the offense. I chose to leave. What I'm most proud about was all these years, I've accepted full responsibility for my failure. Nobody else but me.
In New York City's Flatiron District, Dr. John Frank arrives at his practice.
Do you have any ear issues?
Sometimes I feel like I can't hear Dr. Frank. My husband's always complaining.
This ear looks great. You can't hear or you don't listen?
Both.
Okay. That's selective hearing. Okay, lean forward.
As an otolaryngologist, he's familiar with the maladies of the ear, nose, and throat.
You don't have allergies, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Though few of his patients are probably familiar with his former career as a tight end for the San Francisco 49ers. A career as interesting as it was unlikely.
84, Bill Walsh drafted me in the 2nd round. I never anticipated I was really going to be playing in the NFL or even drafted, so I didn't know who he was. A few years when I was in college, I wasn't following the NFL. I was just a chemistry major from Ohio State on my way to medical school. So the phone rang. I didn't say, who is this, but he said, it's the head coach. I said, John, congratulations. The only Coach Welch I knew was the coach of Army at the time, George Welch. And so I said, oh, Coach Welch. He said, no, John, it's Coach Walsh. He just said, oh, well, we'll see you when you get out here. And I thought, oh, this is not going to be fun.
So you're here, you're here.
Frank quickly learned his coach's name and his supposedly innovative offense.
It was the West Coast offense. I looked at the game plans, and they really weren't impressive. The X's and O's weren't that complicated with the short passes and the quick slants. It seemed very basic.
So we don't need any kind of fancy moves by the tight end. 4-yard gain. You get that out of the play, it worked.
In his first training camp, Frank was an unknown on a team of stars, most of whom were unknown to him.
I really didn't know that much about the 49ers. I had heard Joe Montana's name. He was from Western Pennsylvania, where I'm from, so I knew who Joe Montana was, but that was about it. And then we started my rookie year.
On a Monday night in New York, the Niners unleashed more primetime devastation than the A-Team.
My first catch in the NFL was a touchdown pass at the Meadowlands. It was on a Monday night game. Again, at the time, I didn't realize what a big event that would be for me.
Fires it out to the rookie, John Frank. That's his first reception, and it's a touchdown.
He wanted to spike it, didn't he? Is this against the rules or what?
Frank was unclear on the NFL celebration rules, and certainly didn't know the name of the future Hall of Fame linebacker he had beaten on the play.
I didn't even know who Lawrence Taylor was. In the regular season game where I caught that first touchdown, he was just a name. We faced the Giants again that year in the playoffs, and we were watching the film, and his name kept coming up.
So we want to go after Taylor with a guard. If it's Taylor, for God's sake, stay with him. Now, don't leave Taylor early.
Finally, I said to John Ayers, who was the guard at the time, what's all this attention about? And he said, well, this is Lawrence Taylor. We're going to double team him on every pass play.
Taylor's on the left, but our tight end, John, is going to come around here, beautiful.
And Randy Cross just looked at me and said, John, you don't know who Lawrence Taylor is? And I was embarrassed. It was one of those things where you sort of have to fake it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's good, Lawrence Taylor. But I was just really out in left field.
From left field, Frank met Lawrence Taylor center stage.
Here's Lawrence Taylor involved in a fracas. It's John Frank.
I became a wrestling match, and it got a lot of coverage.
That should be broadcast on Saturday morning somewhere.
I love that guy. Jump from the ropes and stuff.
I think I made the All-Madden team that year.
Bill Walsh was saying this guy's always in fights because he always blocks guys and stays with them. And that's exactly what he did with Lawrence Taylor. Look, Taylor has him. Frank gets a reversal. Taylor's going for the reversal. Frank gets a pin. 1, 2, 3. Well, referee says that's it. No more.
In some ways, that sort of defined my rookie year.
The following week, Frank's season was defined in a different way.
We played the Bears in the NFC Championship game, and I fell off a block, and I fell on my arm, and I hyperextended my elbow. It was questionable for the Super Bowl. Somehow I convinced them that I was able to play. I played in the game with this massive cast on my elbow, and I didn't catch any passes, and I really wasn't a factor at all. But I was there. It was really a great game.
As the 49ers won their second Super Bowl title under Bill Walsh, number 86 watched from the best seat in the house. But his celebration would be far shorter than that of his teammates.
I packed up my apartment within 24 hours, and I think within 48 hours, I was back in a classroom and studying medicine. Football for me was always a hobby. Really, truly, I was passing through. And I never lost sight of that. I knew in my heart that I was only going to play for a few years. I was going to medical school, come hell or high water. I was more committed to that than I had been to blocking Lawrence Taylor.
Does it hurt when you just touch your ear here?
Today, I'm always a little bit sheepish to tell my patients that I was a football player. And even when they say, hey, Doc, I Googled you. You didn't tell me you played in the Super Bowl.
From Ohio State, John Frank. Way to go, John Frank.
Super Bowl 23 was one of the most amazing Super Bowls. And for me, I anticipated it was going to be my last game.
Clutch, man, clutch, man, clutch, man.
Especially if we won the game. I caught 2 passes in the Super Bowl. I played very well. We played well enough to win, but I think the Bengals really outplayed us and should have won the game.
The Bengals take a 16-13 lead.
During the last drive of Super Bowl 23.
Montana again is back to throw.
I was in on the series. I caught a pass.
A little dunk over the middle, caught by John Frank, and that'll be a first down.
We scored the winning touchdown on that last drive.
39 seconds remaining.
That pass to John Taylor.
Montana steps up, throws.
Was jubilation. Harris Barton grabs me and lifts me up, and I have this photo of him. I'm on his shoulders, and we won the game. It was Super Bowl 23. We won.
In the locker room, the tight end destined to make a career of healing laid the toughest hit of the day on the 49ers owner, Eddie DeBartolo.
The game's over, and we run into the locker room. And there's Eddie. Come here. I grabbed him, I picked him up, and I shook him. I'm like, this is it. And I don't know, I think I must have tripped on the locker or something. And before I knew it, Eddie was sitting in a locker after banging his head against the back of the locker. He's grabbing his head, looking to see if he's cut his scalp open.
I got a knot on my head. Honest to God, I'm half groggy.
How'd you get hit?
John Frank yanked me into that locker over there. Fill my head.
Oh, you got it.
Watch, I fill my head. Oh, print it.
His expression is just so clear on his face that he's not happy about it. And I mean, I knew I was going to retire anyway, so I think he forgave me. It's a challenge to leave the NFL. Even for me, on my own accord. I'm sure more difficult if you're cut or if you're too old to play. I can't even imagine the psychological challenges that you have to overcome to move on. Football can be so capturing and so all-encompassing.
Damn, it's great, isn't it?
I think it's important to demonstrate that there is life on the other side of football, and I've tried to do that.
In 2003, Frank slid back into athletics and his Jewish roots.
We created the Israeli bobsled team, a 2-man bobsled. I was the team's brake man, and Aaron Zeff, a former U.S. Air Force aviator, was the pilot, and we just built it from scratch. We saw that there were some other countries which had bobsled teams like Jamaica and some smaller countries, and felt like it would be a good feel-good opportunity to do something and give something back. And we became Israeli citizens and represented Israel and competed in the 2004 World Championships in Koenigsegg, Germany. We placed, I think, 34th. There were a lot of fun moments with that. One of our nicknames, amongst other things, we were the Frozen Chosen. We really needed to raise a fair amount of money for the venture, so we sold some sponsorships for the sides of the sled. And unlike most of the teams, we were selling a sponsorship for the bottom of the sled, so that whenever we tilted and slid down on our sides, the bottom would show up, which happened a lot. So I did that for about 4 years, and then turned it over to some younger athletes. It was a wonderful ride, and it was a lot of fun.
Fun is also how Frank looks back on his football career.
I am fortunate to have a Super Bowl victory in my first year and then my last year, so I had a lot of moments in the NFL which were great moments.
It is caught that time by John Frank. Yeah, John Frank!
And the camaraderie, you don't ever have that again in anything else you do. I would consider that the highlight of my playing in the NFL for the 49ers. One of the beauties of the NFL is it's really a meritocracy. I mean, that game is won based on your merits. Steve Young was Mormon, I was Jewish, we had Baptist, Catholic, atheist, you name it. Wherever you're from, whoever you are, none of that really mattered. And what a lovely environment. When did this happen? Fortunately, medicine has maintained that. When someone's ill, it doesn't really matter as a physician who you're treating. It's beautiful. Have you noticed it getting worse?
It's getting worse, yes.
You don't have feel-good stories all the time, every day. But when you get one, you're reminded of why you've paid the price, whether it's a financial sacrifice to go to medical school or the hours. I treat them as though I'm, treating myself, and I would want somebody to try as hard as they can to uncover what my challenges are and help me. Stay out of trouble, no softball today. I still, in earnest, try all the time to really help somebody. Okay. Now, that's what I do.
Next week, the shots of the year. Plus, the best of nearly 100 players and coaches wired for sound from the 2010 season.
I only know how to play one way, Coach, but I'll do what I can.
What's odds on us getting Arby's at half?
I'm always hungry, you know me.
What he told you?
That's exactly what he told me. Spike the ball out of bounds.
I tell my wife I take the garbage out. Sometimes I don't.
Next week on Presents.
Hey, let's go win this thing, baby.